under this exciting period of time with everything that's going on right now, there's a lot of questions out there about what's happening, and we're just looking forward to getting the information out there. As Trent talked about, man, we had literally about 3,000 people sign up in a very short period of time the other day. And with that, we actually had one of our servers, which I've never seen happen before. One of our servers actually was kind of like overheating and had to switch it out, do some other work. But I got to tell you, we got a CEO and an ownership team that's second to none. And shout out to Hitesh for all the great work that he's been doing throughout this process. So, Trent, if you want to, I'd like to dive right into this and go through, and then we could open up for some questions afterwards.
Absolutely. Guys, what I'm going to do is share my screen. So if somebody in the comment section can let me know that you guys see it here, let me get over here to the slideshow. Actually, let me get to the comments first. Make sure that you guys can see what's on. Hold on a second. Give me a minute. Sorry. I'm tired. I'm running on like hardly any sleep like everyone else. So
yeah, all of us are taking a lot of caffeine and no dose, man.
That's exactly right, man. Let's see, where is the, oh, there it is. Can you guys see the screen? Can you guys type yes in the message area or the chat for me? And then I'll go ahead and turn it over to the PowerPoint, just so I know everyone's seeing the screen. I know there's a little bit of a delay on here, so it might take a second. I'm just going to go ahead and switch it over to the screen. Oh, crud. Okay, here we are. Can you see my screen, Ken?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, awesome. So we are golden. We're good.
Yeah, Trent, let's just start on the page right off the bat on the third slide, I believe.
Okay.
All right, guys. So, what we're dealing with right now, I mean, we've come out of obviously INFINii being the parent company of DSD, and what we're dealing with is just a complete technology piece. And I gotta pause for a second, Trip, because I'm cracking up. I've got my 170-pound Great Dane is not feeling well, so I have him in the room with me, and he's chosen this very moment to go over and get a drink. And it sounds like an elephant walking over. Just can you hear it?
A little bit, yeah. I'm used to, I have a big old German Shepherd. So.
It sounds like an elephant going over there. He's a light 170 pounds, and he tends to keep my life real, to say the least. So anyway, with that, I'll start over.
That's all good.
That's the beauty of a home-based business, is that you can keep it real, and when things are needed at home, you can actually take care of the family, and/or, as is important here, the dog, even in place of business. So anyway, with that, I'll start over so you can cut this and start over on it. So again, with the revolution technology that we all see taking place, and of course coming from the space of what DSD has accomplished over the course of the last 2 years, has everybody in the industry paying attention to exactly what is going on now with this launch of INFINii. And of course, INFINii is not a new company per se. It's a parent company of DSD that quite honestly has made history within the network marketing realm, because so many network marketers like myself, who've been in the industry over 20 years, we just didn't get the eBay, Amazon model. But because of how effective DSD was at reshaping, quite honestly, all of our attitudes with regards to the e-commerce space, I had the honor of working with Hitesh now for over a year, and Kevin and Jason, the founders of the company, and helping put together the executive team, and then really co-creating the compensation structure for INFINii. And arguably, it is by far the best within the industry at this time. And I believe it will certainly stay there. Now, from a technology standpoint, nobody is going to touch what we're rolling out here. So with that, what I want to do is talk about, really comparisons of what has gone on previously in the technology mode, and then what the current, shall we say, the current explosion in technology has done. We all understand media creators, those that are my age, 40s or 50s. We understand that media was controlled by a small group, CBS News, NBC, and all the others. But today there's been that massive shift due to technology going on. And, those news stations could only dream of having the type of exposure now that Facebook and YouTube and Twitter do. And so that revolution has taken place. One of the things I like, which we have a caption up on the top, is 8-year-old makes 1.3 million a year by posting YouTube videos. Stuff like this is unheard of, and the very concept is. So when we start to understand that technology is driving everything, that really is the basis of where INFINii is moving into the space. You'll see on this next slide, as we move forward, that the same thing is happening within every industry out there. We all know that, hey, there's yellow cabs driving everywhere. You get in the back of the cab. Cabbies were certainly not the greatest people in the world for being nice manners wise, and the cabs were always dirty. So some bright individual comes up with Uber, and founded in 2009. And the market valuation on that company by the Wall Street Journal is already over $50 billion, and they don't own a single car. How is it possible? It's because that person who founded Uber sat there and came up with a technology-driven app that was able to change the world of, basically cabs and turn it into this incredible thing. So now, utilizing that same model and that same type of thought process, we can see that it's still happening in every other sector. When we look to the next slide, you'll go ahead and see that it's happening as well in the hotel area. On the left, we've got Hilton, a 55-year-old global hotel network that everybody's heard of, founded in 1957 with a market valuation of $19 billion. Massive hotels everywhere. Yet today we have Airbnb, doesn't own a single hotel anywhere. And it's a website that connects homeowners with guests so they can utilize their homes. Founded in 2008. Here it has a market valuation of $25.5 billion, according to CNN Money. If you look to the left, the market valuation on Hilton, even with all of their physical hotels and grandeur, is less than Airbnb that doesn't own a single structure. So that gives you an idea of the way the marketplace has really come and shaped. Now let's take a look on the next slide with where technology has impacted the retail shopping world. No matter where you live in the country today, clearly e-commerce is taking over. On the left side, you see the old structure of the malls, and except for the major malls that people like to still go in, the retail challenges today is they can't compete with the online prices and the overhead. They can't compete with the staffing, location, the costs, etc. So when you look at the global factor, we've got an 11 trillion worldwide e-commerce sales in 2014. That's in US dollars. And when you consider that Amazon is a massive entity, and on the other side of the world we have Alibaba, that's literally doing 14 times the number of sales that Amazon's doing, and all of this e-commerce is coming together, and we see it across the board from Amazon, from eBay, and Walmart. All the places have moved into the space, and this is really what the founders of INFINii and the visionary individual behind it, which is Hitesh, which is our CEO and president, really saw that, okay, if we could take the brilliance of the DSD model, tie that into an overall umbrella platform, and tie in an incredible home-based business opportunity with a rewards compensation plan, we could change the home-based business industry, much like these industries that I've gone here and gone over have been changed in the same course. So on the next slide, as you see that we start to dive into exactly what's happening within the INFINii world, we recognize if you look at the graph that's kind of towards the back, you'll know that the online sales on the yearly graph all the way to the left around 2000 are almost non-existent. Now you look over from all the different sporting goods and hobby goods and all the different things that are sold online, it's just going off the chart. Now Amazon, Facebook, Alphabet, which is the name of Google now, and then eBay control 70% of the online industry market valuation within that, and INFINii works with all four of these. So it gives you an idea of the power that we're plugging into, and in return, the power that's being provided to you. Consider that the model that we're looking at, and consider what this company has already done. When you look at the screen right here and you think, wow, $2 billion in sales have been done to the end consumer from the DSD INFINii family since its launch, which was just in September of 2013. Now think about that within home-based business industry, and to do $2 billion in sales to the end user through the membership platform is unheard of. And then to have those members actually generate over $380 million in profits into their pockets, the story says for itself. If you look across that stage there, and Trent, you've got one of the largest checks up there, and we see other individuals in there. They're 25 years old, holding up $800,000 checks or $600,000 checks, and average people, even in their 50s and 60s, that you wouldn't think would be into the online space, they're holding up checks of a couple $100,000 as well. So it's changed an enormous number of people's lives. And with INFINii and what I'm going to show you now, you're going to realize just how big this is about to change your life. So first of all, welcome to the INFINii suite of e-commerce platforms. That's exactly what we have, a suite of different things. And the way this has worked, and the way these, the individuals that were holding checks up on the previous slides that you saw, work like this. On the left-hand side, you've got Rachel, which is your end consumer, and she's jumping on, in this example, eBay. She's, just simply looking for some great cookware. Now, while she's going ahead and doing the shopping, she finds a great deal that she sees for the cookware she wants. It's $114.85. She purchases it, and what she doesn't know is that behind that is Michael, or Stephen, I should say, who's with, at that time, our company. And so, he's at the other end. He sees that Rachel has bought the product. So Stephen hasn't even purchased the product yet. Now he purchases the products. That's one of our key formulas here. You're not buying products ahead of time. You're first sourcing it out there. It's being sold, and then you're immediately, acquiring the product and moving it through a system that doesn't necessarily have to involve you directly. You're kind of the middleman here. But Stephen in this one spends $68.60. So his profit on this one exchange is $46.25. And Trent, one of the things that I see the type of volume that you move and leaders on your team that you move, and this turns into, hundreds and sometimes thousands of dollars a day in this type of volume here. So it really is exciting. So as we look to the next slide, what you're going to find right here is that, we have several platform levels for you to choose from. So it doesn't matter if you're just coming here and you're kind of sticking your toe in the water for the first time and you're saying, how is this really going to work? I don't fully understand it. So you have the opportunity to come in at Prime. And Prime is $49.95 a month, and there's no upfront cost. This is just your cost for your monthly membership. We're not like those companies that says, hey, you got to spend, $2,000 to join, buy this big pack and everything else. No, this is just a simply membership platform to help you get into the e-commerce world. And for that $50 monthly, you're going to access an inventory of 3 Springboard products. And while it says 1.5% right there in inventory, you're really going to be able to access 15 units of products that we go ahead and source directly with the manufacturers, so you don't have to do any of that. You're going to make money when you or your friends shop locally or online. You can use your phone to turn goods into profits, access millions of discounted products worldwide. You can see all the lists that we have right there, and it really is absolutely incredible. Now, the Surge platform, which is next on our list right here, is $149.95. Now the Surge is for the person that's a little more serious. They're not just going to sit there and stick their toe in the water. They want to have some good profits. They recognize that in order to be in business, you've got to spend a little bit of money, and obviously spending $150 a month is not a big risk from a business standpoint, especially when you consider everything you're getting. So with this, you've got access of inventory from 6 Springboard products, but you can have up to, at that point in time, 30 units to utilize or sell within these Springboard products. And the Springboard is really the starting point that allows you to spring into the e-commerce business. If you're not familiar with this, you're kind of looking here and going, okay, what's Prime and what's Surge? And what it is this is a gateway for you to begin your e-commerce business, because we've got an entire instructional studio for you to learn all aspects of the business. But Surge is going to put your business on true autopilot, and you're going to generate cash back on every sale to maximize your products. And you've got all the benefits of Prime as well as Surge. So when you select one of these, you're getting the other one as well. Now, our next one, which is Excel, is the premium flagship product. And this gives you all the benefits of both the Prime and the Surge. And the key right here is that now you can access up to 60 units per month out of our Springboard product line. And when you can access 60 different products, and as you'll see in some of the future slides I'm going to go through right here, it'll give you an idea of how powerful that is. And the key is that with the Excel product, you can either, and any of our products like this, you can either go ahead and have the product shipped to you directly, or you can have our management team go ahead and manage your account. So, with the Excel, you can earn up to a 400% higher profits per sale, which obviously is substantial. And you can exploit Amazon's FBA system, which is fulfillment by Amazon, and all the other direct aspects that you can do that Trent and some of the other truly experts within this have been able to do. So it's just, if you're serious about doing business, obviously Excel is the way to go. And we're seeing the vast majority of people that are lining up right now focused on either the Surge at 149 or Excel at 400. When we look to the Springboard e-commerce platform, this is going to give you a clear understanding of the way this works. Now, as we move into this and you really have a full view, I believe you're going to see how simplistic this really is. In the next slide, you're going to see that, we begin talking about the Springboard in great detail. So it's the ultimate e-commerce management platform for both seasoned sellers and beginners. So the key that we wanted to do here is create a product offering that would allow the novice or the expert to come in. So in INFINii, the vendor team negotiates and brings some of the best selling products to you at the lowest prices possible. So because of the success of DSD and INFINii as a whole, every manufacturer knows the name and knows that we've moved over $2 billion in the marketplace in just the last 2 years. So they want to do direct deals with us. Because of that, we're able to go and get some extraordinary pricing, which you're about to see. 2, we can purchase these products directly from Springboard without research, negotiation, or logistical management of importing items. So it saves you a ton of money. Before, a lot of our leaders, had to go out there and do an extensive amount of research on their own to find the best products and go through all this. So what INFINii has done is we've streamlined that whole process. So now you don't have to take that time to do that. Now we have that process taken care of for you. And you can choose to sell the items, as I talked about, yourself, or use the managed service option to help that. So the Amazon and eBay sales, they handle and charge appropriate fees, and your INFINii store markets, handles, and charges appropriate fees as well. So everything is kind of in a cookie cutter design to run through. Now, some of the experts, you might want to direct source these products yourself and handle it, but it's perfectly suited for international partners. And this is a huge piece, because individuals that were in the international sector before that really wanted to participate in Amazon, had to really either find a partner in North America that they could partner with, or they had to have a business here and business licensing here to do that, which was a lot of extra. Now, our international partners are actually going to partner directly with INFINii. So what I want to do is jump through a couple quick examples for you. And again, it's designed to jumpstart your e-commerce business in the first 90 days. So you're coming into INFINii, and we immediately want to take you and move you in the direction of running a profitable business. So you're going to access pre-researched, high-demand branded products at the lowest possible prices. You're going to sell at high profit margins for yourself, or have our team of experts do it for you. And you can scale up and graduate to your own e-commerce presence and platform in 90 days from our internal training, what's going to go on. So you see on the left here, you've got the Spider-Man floor puzzle. You'll notice that, and as I was talking here before, we talked about the Prime, that you're having access to 15 units a month available to you. At Surge, it was 30 units available per month, and at Excel, it was 60 units available per month. So you can see now what we're talking about here, because in each one of the Springboard offerings, for example, this one would be 1,000 total units available. The unit price is $3, and the retail price is $12. So the management fee that INFINii charges on that, if you were to use our management team, is 35 cents. Amazon and eBay fees are about $5.45. So you can see at the end result here, you've selected to go ahead and access 30. So let's say you were a Surge member, you could either access a small number of units and spread them out over different Springboards, or you could use your entire 30 that you have in a month in one particular Springboard offering if those number of units are available to you. So we got 30 units that you're going to do, and your total cost is going to be $90. So you get the product management, and then you choose whether it's going to be shipped to you or you're going to have our management team do it for you. And the total is going to end up being $10.50 right here. And as we go to the next one, you're going to see that this is the same process and so many different examples that we have here. And it doesn't matter what the product is. You can still see what our unit price is. And then we bring it over to the far right, and you're going to assume a retail price on the top one, which is an architect lamp in this example, and a retail price of $22.90. And then it's going to be less the unit cost, which is $8, less the Amazon eBay fees, $8.59, and less the management fees of INFINii for 35 cents. And then you're going to bring that down with 10 units in this example, and you're going to have a profit margin, which is nice, and you're recouping $59.60. So as you look to that, then the next one, you're coming down, you're looking over at the Champion men's sweatpants, same scenario. You see exactly how this works. So you got the retail price, then you have your unit price that we're accessing for, you have your Amazon or eBay fees, and then you come across and it's a potential profit, $4.58 times 25 units or $114.50. And this, in that example, it's sold by our partner. Now come down to the final one, and you can still see how this really continues to continue to add up into very, very nice dollars and cents. And so as we jump to the next slide, as we run through this, you're going to start to understand that there's two steps to success with this platform. Number one, you select the, what you want. Are you going to step in with your toe in the water, so to speak, and just get started? Or are you going to go ahead and go in and start treating this as a solid part-time business at the surge level? Or are you going to jump in and go full-time into this and go to Excel? Now, you're going to also have some of you that are part-time. They're still going to go to Excel just because of obviously being able to access 60 units, as well as all of the benefits that are established in both Prime, Surge, in addition to that. Plus, there's a whole litany of training and all the other aspects that I don't even have time to go over that's going to get you completely ready to run your entire own e-commerce business. Now, you're also going to share INFINii if you choose to with family and friends. And if you do so, we also reward you through a secondary structure team. And that reward process is our rewards plan. And it's quite exceptional. As we run to this next slide, you're going to see that, we start off with a very methodical process. We've got 10 million, up to 10 million in bonuses here, which obviously is going to get anybody's attention. But what I want to do is really bring you down to the kind of the base structure of how this is built. As we go through this next series, you're going to see how it gets outlined. So what we did is we took the two most successful plans within the home-based business or network marketing industry. First is the dual team structure to your left. That's what we call a binary or dual team structure, meaning you only have to build two teams. This gives the power and the energy of what happens if you only have to build two teams, because as you keep enrolling other people or introducing to the platform, each new person that comes in has to go on your left or right. So as you start to go, then that means that you're placing people underneath other people rather than them just being left alone and out there swimming on their own, as we see in so many business models. Now, on the right side is the unilevel, and the unilevel runs off of your personal enrollment tree. The personal enrollment tree means everybody that you've sponsored and anybody they've sponsored. So think of it more like a family genealogy tree. And we pay to infinite levels on that genealogy tree based upon the rank that you hold. Now, on the next piece, you're going to see that we begin this process really by first eliminating the greatest restriction to the binary. Those of you that are familiar with binaries know that while they're terrific for being able to really build the power and the speed of helping others below you because you're putting people below them and thus helping their business volume, the binary tends to have one drawback. 99% of companies that operate a binary only allow you to rank advance or have your rank established by the volume on your lesser leg. And, a binary, when you're building your team, you have no idea which team's going to take off and do exceptional work. Let's say, for example, you enrolled 4 people on your left team and 4 people on your right team. And the 4 that you enrolled on your right team really took off, and the ones on your left team, kind of didn't take off so well. And let's say the ones on your right team, did, $500,000 a month, and the one on your left team did $30,000 a month. Well, in other companies, you'd be rank blocked and pay restricted because everything's based on the lesser leg. Well, in the INFINii plan, while we utilize the binary to help with team speed, we base the vast majority of your enrollment data, or I should say your promotional data, on your personal enrollment tree or the unit level. And that's the really exciting piece on that. So as we go in through the rest of this, you're going to start to understand that, really it just takes a few things to grow your business. Number one, your platform fees, those that your team has, whether it's at the Prime, the Surge, or the Excel. We do a 1-to-1 point to dollar ratio on our platform fees into the rewards plan. So if somebody's on Prime and they're paying $50 a month, that's 50 BV or business volume going into the plan because it's a 1-to-1 point to dollar ratio. Surge, $150 a month, 150 BV. Excel, 400 BV, $400 a month. Very, very simple process. But then we're also pushing volume into the rewards plan from the e-commerce retail sales. And that's what's really exciting because, you've got Sue down below sells an item on eBay. And because of the sale on that item, it ends up adding 4 BV into the plan. Well, you can imagine because we have our entire network on here selling online, doing different things, all the additional business volume, which is going to flow into the rewards plan. And as you see down there to the far right, Mark buys an item from the marketplace, and that generates 12 BV into the plan. Even our Springboards that you saw before, we go ahead and we give 2% on Amazon, which is where we do the Springboards. We give 2% of the retail price in BV into the rewards plan. So you've got all these different areas funneling the BV in, and you can imagine when you start having hundreds and then thousands of people on your team, and I don't say that lightly because it sounds like a lot, but this is kind of a no-brainer. Everybody sees the UPS trucks, the FedEx trucks, and everything else driving down every block. We get Amazon Prime where, if you're within close proximity of some of the Amazon places, they're delivering products within an hour to 2 hours of you placing the order. It's just changing the whole face of shopping. So if you start to add this in, you're going to understand the power that exists here. So if you, again, think in that dual team structure with the tool teams, you've got that left team and that right team. So you've got platform fees and you have other activities fueling that. And then you've got the e-commerce retail sale, the marketplace purchase, the digital product and services, vendor referrals, all these different things are surging into this. And as that BV accumulates on each side, we pay that back to you weekly. And when you think about the way our rewards plan is structured, you'll understand that we don't have hidden triggers like you have to be at 500 on the left and 500 on the right before we pay. It doesn't matter if you got $5 on the dollars on the left and $5 on the right in sales. That's going to create 5B left, 5BV right. We automatically give you beginning with 10% on your lesser leg, and it goes up to 15 and 20% in the dual team structure. So as we continue through, the idea here is that when you first introduce people, we want to go ahead and make sure that if somebody comes in and no matter what membership level they join at to get started, that you automatically receive a 15% commission off of that initial product purchase for the first month. And this is a one-time when somebody comes in. But for example, on the Excel, that would give you $60 every time you introduce somebody to this. And believe me, it's a very simple system to get started with. Now, as we continue through, you'll begin to see the way we start to build this up. And the first piece is making sure that the brand new person becomes profitable. How do we do that? Well, we have over 70% of the total global business volume of the company dedicated to fund the rewards plan. Now, we took 6% of that dedicated 70% to fund the beginner bonus. And with the beginner bonus, what we want to do is we want to make sure that people can earn up to $1,800 out of this group as they start their business. And all you have to do to participate in this is simply introduce and maintain 2 active customers, or what we refer to as partners, that come in and are interested in the business. Now, a big key factor here is they don't have to be partners and actually doing the business. They could just be in here being customers of the product, running their own business, and not fully be involved in other aspects of the INFINii program. So they're just a customer. But if you've got one on your left team, one on your right team, then boom, you're in the beginner bonus. Now, the next piece of the beginner bonus that you'll find is that, when you look to your beginner bonus pool earnings, which are paid monthly, it's going to simply, as I talked about, just referring to, but then we use a secondary indicator to say, okay, your earnings from the pool are going to be limited to 1.5% of your activity points, or limited to 1.5% of your PET, which is your personal enrollment tree volume. The key right here, though, is that to keep the plan healthy, we want to make sure that if you're at 400 BV per month, that, PET or that you can earn up to $600 a month from the beginner bonus. So it's a very healthy beginner bonus, but it's also one that we have certain governors in to protect it, to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to participate in this. So as we move forward, you can also see that, from the dual team structure, and as your business really starts to grow, you could go all the way up to 20% on your dual team or binary payout per week, which can reach as high, if you go up in rank to our highest rank, as much as $50,000 a week. Now, that's an extreme amount of money, because that's obviously $200,000 a month, but that's really not pie in the sky when you take the success of individuals like we have on the leadership team here tonight that have built massive e-commerce businesses. And then in addition to that, also have all of that BV from that flowing through the INFINii plan. You're going to see a lot of people accomplish a lot of great things here. Now, in the next piece, you'll also see that the way we structure this is that when you're in the builder, basically the builder, the beginning level, and through the manager ranks, you're earning 10% on your lesser leg. When you're at the director levels, you're earning 15%. And then when you get up to the ambassador level, it increases to 20% on the ambassador level. And, Trent, as you click on this, we're going to see that this starts to drop down. And what happens here is, if we take the 10% national manager right here, they're going to get 10% of the volume. Well, the lesser team has 8,000 BV. So we take 10% times 8,000, that equals 800. Now, this is paid weekly. So let's take a look now if you went up in rank. Click it again. And then, so your senior director earns 15% of your lesser side volume. So now if we're looking at your lesser side volume being 28,000, 15% of that, 4,200. And then again, at the next rank, you'll see ambassador increases to 20%. So again, your lesser team in this example is 98,000. So 20% times 98,000 is 19,600 BV for or dollars, I should say, for the week. So remember, the key here is this is weekly, so it's 4 times per week. Now, the next piece is probably our most exciting, which is the INFINii. It's our unilevel structure, but we took, basically allowing you to take 5% on all business volume generated within your enrollment tree. And when you think in terms of unilevels, most of the time they'll pay you 8 or 9 levels deep if you're lucky, and then you only can, in the top 1 or 2 ranks, you're going to get 1 or 2% to INFINii. We've actually been able to structure this again because the owners of the company gave us a full 70% for the rewards plan. We're able to pay this 5% to INFINii with specific earning caps established at different ranks. But to really grasp what 5% to INFINii means, it's massive. So as you look at this diagram here, we've switched from the dual team to the unilevel structure. So, these people that you've enrolled right here, let's say Sam, Sue, Mark, and Kim, as they build out below them, each one have individual lines of lineage. So you have 4 separate lines of lineage that are building down through here. Or think of it this way. They were 4 kids that you had, and each one of them went on to have families of their own. So that has 4 separate family genealogies. Now, if you click it again, we'll come in and we'll show you the structure right here of how this would be. So those 4 separate lines of lineage now comes in. So Sam's entire organization here brings it in. So it's 19,600 BV for the week. That's times 5%. So from Sam, you're earning $980 this week. You can see the same with Sue, all the way across the board to Kim. And you can see how this starts to add up from every single different line of lineage possible through this. So when you start to do that, you understand that as that starts to grow, and you may introduce 4 people, you might introduce 24 people, you might introduce 54 people. You can start to see it's only limited by how many people you introduce this incredible structure. So 4 partners and your rank at executive director, and you're talking right here, just $14,748 a month in the rewards plan, which has nothing to do with the Springboard or any of the other e-commerce growth of businesses that you have going on. So Infinity Pay alone, which is your unilevel structure, you can earn up to $200,000 a month per line of lineage. Now, it's important. It might sound confusing with the verbiage. The thing is, there behind the screen there's 4 separate lines of lineage there. So if you go up to the highest rank in the company, it means that you can earn up to $50,000 a week or $200,000 a month from each line of lineage. If the team is large enough to pay you that, that's obviously an incredible level of income and allows us to, feel confident that we're not only going to have people making 4-figure, 5-figure, even 6-figure monthly incomes off of this and truly be life-changing in the process. Now, we also have our rank and elevation bonuses. In the rank and elevation bonuses, this is the idea that people do the work. Our CEO and our other founders wanted to make sure that people were able to have a life-changing experience as they built this business. And that's where at the beginning of this, we said you can earn up to $10 million in elevation bonus. Well, that seems like an insane amount of money. Let's run through on this next slide, and we're going to break it down for you real quick to get a true understanding of it. If you look to the structure on this page, and don't get confused with all the numbers, it's not even worth the time to pay attention to it all. Just slide over to the second column from the right. You'll see at the top of the screen, it says elevation achievement. What happens here is if you drop straight down, the first thing you're going to come to is 10,000 plus 10K. With 10,000 plus 10K, if you look at that line and you take it all the way to the left, you're going to see that's the director rank. So in order to achieve director, that is just simply 30,000 in personal enrollment tree business volume within a month's time, and you reach director. Now, when you join, if you get really focused, we give you an extra carrot, because anytime you reach director, whether it takes a year or it takes 6 months or it takes 90 days, you're going to get a $10,000 bonus from us, which is then paid out in $5,000 per month over 2 months. So when you look to it, though, if you go ahead and come out hard and go right after director, if you, from the date you join, accomplish director in 90 days or less, we're going to pay you an additional $10,000. So you're getting a $20,000 bonus for hitting director right out of the gate. Now, does that make financial sense to the company? Absolutely not, because you're not producing enough volume there to warrant it. But again, our founders wanted to go ahead and push a lot of money in the pocket right away to say, hey, great job. Get ready for life-changing income. And there's nothing more that's going to fire people up, especially in this uncertain time when they start to see that. Now, as you continue to go up in rank, you'll see the elevation bonuses go all the way to $2.5 million. And you can see as you go up in rank. So it doesn't matter if you do this over 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. It's a great thing in addition to all of the e-commerce money, in addition to the rewards plan money, which is rewarding you for building a team. In addition to that, you've got the company behind you, and there's a little special thing called loyalty retirement in there. And that's something which is truly amazing. Now, I know some of you are having a hard time seeing it on the screen, behind the little pop-up icons right there on Skype. But I would tell you that as you go up and you start to see that the retirement income will go all the way up to $250,000 a year. And that's over a 10-year period. Now, that's added on top of the normal compensation plan. So when you reach presidential director, your retirement loyalty kicks in that pays you $25,000 for 2 years. So that's on top of your normal pay that you're already getting. You're getting additional $25,000 for 2 years. When you get to ambassador rank, it goes to $40,000 a year for 5 years. And again, that's not instead of your other money. That's on top of it. So you can see it's a really exciting, piece that we have added in here. So, as we move past that, the one thing I want to ensure is that you don't get hung up or concerned about understanding all the dynamics. The rewards plan runs for you and automatically pays you. You don't have to worry about tracking this. If you're a seasoned builder, then obviously you are, but you're going to see that this thing takes off like no other. So Trent, let's hit the next page.
And this, just to throw it in there, this is a cumulative too, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, completely cumulative. So, if you go ahead and you shoot straight up to presidential director and you do that in 6 months time, we're going to certainly have people do that with the flood that we have coming in. You can see that you're not only getting 150,000, but on top of that, there's the 50, so that takes you to 200, and you got the 20, and then you've got again another 10, even another 20,000. Boom, you put all that, cumulatively together, and you can start doing the math on how impressive this is.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
No, it's all right, man. Hey, builders like you, that's exactly what you're paying attention to, and that's what a lot of people are. Now, I want to apologize for some of the graphic overlays on here. We're running into some graphic overlay issues, but the key right here is that we've got a global bonus pool that we push an entire additional 4% of total global business volume into this pool. And so once you get up and you hit the director rank, one of the keys here is, unlike other companies where you see the global bonus pool being reserved for the top 2 or 3 ranks, again, our founders wanted to change that, invert that formula, push it to the beginning builder rank of director, where a full 2% of the 4% goes directly at the director level. And then as you're going up in rank, it continues to add percentages. Senior director, it adds another 1% there, so for a total of 3. But as you go up in rank, obviously you're making a lot more money from the rewards plan as you are from your e-commerce business. So there wasn't really a need to go ahead and look at rewarding people as heavily at the top. Why give the people at the top all the additional funds? Give it to the business person in the middle that's really focused on growing the business, and you'll get the greatest return on that. And that's what we've done with that setup. Now, you've got, 3 steps right here. Basically, one step is, you earn your fast start bonuses, get beginner bonus qualified, and then earn your 90-day, bonus for doing this at director, and that's another 20 grand. We're going to have a ton of stories out there about people just exploding through and capturing that $20,000 check for hitting director in 90 days or less. It's absolutely incredible when you start to understand the way this is going to spread like wildfire across social media, because nothing has ever been done like this, folks. This isn't like your average network marketing company where we're telling you to go introduce a diet process, a shake, soap, or any other type of things that you see in the marketplace. We're talking about taking the power of Amazon, eBay, and other social media and empowering people for what they're already purchasing, and then teach them how they can actually insert themselves into the e-commerce process by creating their own e-commerce platform and store. It's absolutely unbelievable, and it is going to change an enormous amount of people's lives through real business transactions, not people simply buying products to qualify in a comp plan, for their particular company. This is real products moving to real people and end users. And one of the most important points for INFINii is that we have a full 82% of our end users are customers. They're not partners in the business. And we have, one of the best ratios for that. Most companies struggle to have 20% of their field be customers, and the 80% are distributors. They're just buying the products to earn in the compensation structure. None of that exists with INFINii, and this is why it's a model that will stay here and will simply grow within the e-commerce space. So redefine your future, and that's exactly what we're offering here with INFINii. And when you get inside and you see the type of training that's available from the different trainers and from the experts like Trent and others that have done incredibly well over the last few years building literally online e-commerce empires, you're going to have the opportunity to learn from them and build this huge e-commerce business. At the same time, help other people. And we're going to have an entire training platform to help you grow a team and help a lot of people in that end direction. So with that, I appreciate your time for this evening. I would get back with the person that invited you here and definitely decide with the launch of this company on December 1st, which place you're going to be. Are you going to be starting off and just have your toe in the water at Prime? Are you going to be serious about this and come in at the surge level at 150? Or are you going to make sure that you're what I would call one of those 10 percenters that wants to change people's lives, and you're going to come in and excel and have full access to everything? So Trent, with that, back at you.
Excuse me, I coughed there for a second. Yeah, no, absolutely. I appreciate you coming through and showing us all that stuff. Guys, there's such a really incredible, unique opportunity here. I've been in a lot of different companies, and I've never quite seen anything like this, especially for seasoned pros that are out there looking at this comp plan right now. I'm sure you guys are like just ready to get on the phone and start building people out. And for you guys that are just customers looking at what we have available to you, it's insanity. I mean, it really is kind of insane that you can just kind of come in here, you know, let the experts kind of do the work for you, and you just get yourself in that space where you're able to make money on a stream of money that's already being made. So it's pretty awesome. What I'd like to do now, before we wrap this up, is open it up for some questions. And before we do that, I do have a couple of things that I want to mention, because I know there's a lot of different people on this call. There's a lot of builders on this call. I've had a lot of people come to me and ask about a marketing system. Yes, we will have a marketing system that will have capture pages, it will have autoresponders, it'll have the works, everything that you need. It'll all be compliant, all of that stuff. And we're going to push the one that corporate is going to have, and it will be available December 1st. And while we're on the topic of that, Ken, I don't know if you want to talk about any of the compliance things that we need to be thinking about as marketers for the builders that are on here, not necessarily the customers, but people that are going to market this this company or whatnot. Can you just maybe like in a 2-minute synopsis kind of tell people, like, you know, what we should and shouldn't be doing and why? I think it's
absolutely. I appreciate you bringing it up, Trent. The idea here is there was some miscommunication on terminology and language initially, and a lot of people started thinking that you know, Springboard was an investment option, and you know, are going to have an ROI, rate of return on it, et cetera. And that's not at all what it was intended to be. Springboard is intended to be the initial push start into the overall e-commerce business, and then to get people into profit quickly. But it's not meant to be the end all. It's meant to go ahead and be one piece, and that we have several pieces like that: the beginner bonus, the Springboard, all these things get people into profit and get them highly energized about what we're doing in the marketplace. So the terminologies that we'd ask the builders to avoid when you're doing your videos is, you know, it's not a co-op, even though that was some of the terminology that even corporate initially used. The key factor here is it's not a co-op. And, you know, we're not doing seats within the co-ops, they're units. And the products themselves, each product represents a unit. So, you know, what we're doing here is we're acquiring the merchandise, and then you're either selling it through yourself or you're utilizing our management team. So as long as you stay away from that type of terminology, you're going to be okay. But it's important to do that. Now, I've also had John Kinnear, our Vice President of Sales and Marketing, is recording a BizOp video tonight, which will go ahead and be released tomorrow, that a lot of you will be able to do. We're trying to keep the business opportunity flying through very rapidly at about a 20-minute overview. You saw tonight, Trent was nice enough. I had some problems with my computer. He was nice enough to click through. And of course, some of you might have caught that as I was going on the next slide and on the next slide. Well, there's a reason for that, because I was cueing Trent to flip it. So it wasn't that I just like repeating on the next slide. So we had some fun tonight.
Oh, I love it. I'm trying to see if we have any questions, and surprisingly, which I've never been on a webinar that has not had a bunch of questions, I'm not seeing any right now. So you must be like the best presenter in the world, Ken.
Or I put them to sleep, Trent. I'm not sure which, so we'll find out.
Yeah, I'll give it just a couple minutes, because I know that we are on a delay. I don't know, for whatever reason, this platform has like a 30-second delay or something. So we'll give it just a little bit of time, and if there's no questions, we'll close it out. I'll send this replay out to people that definitely weren't able to make it.
Yeah, and Trent, just as an update to your team right now, we Hitesh has been hard at work with our programming team, getting everything, mirroring the information from one server over to the other. As many of you know, at the beginning of this, we talked about the server having a challenge. And so with that, that already is taking place right now. So just because we're quiet from the corporate side, as soon as I get off here with Trent, I'll be back into that discussion board and tracking that. So the you know, the server, the mirroring of the genealogy and all the other aspects are continuing forward. And you've seen some of the emails that have come out from corporate today with regards to your username and some of the other things. So know that we're getting everything handled. The great news about our platform is that Hitesh built it from scratch, and his programming team along with that. The reason why it's important is because it allows us to customize it at a level where if you just got an out of the box, or what we call off the shelf binary unilevel hybrid structure. It's got restricted customization. The big part here is you're going to see massive customization over the next 90 to 180 days as we continue to ramp up this platform. So, we will always look better than we did today, but even today we're far ahead from a customization aspect than a lot of the companies are out there.
Yeah, that's awesome. And just to reiterate on what you're saying, I know a lot of people that aren't familiarized to being inside of a pre-launch. This kind of thing is pretty normal. That's why it's called a pre-launch.
Completely. The biggest thing, Trey, is we're not even live until December 1st. Right. So this is when we anticipated these different things to happen and while we pressure tested the platform. So it's a great point.
Absolutely. Well, we do have some questions here, so I'm going to field those really fast. So the first question is, so no seats now, it's just products, ?
It's units. So the terminology rather than seat is unit. So if you said, 5 seats, well, that the idea is you're purchasing a number of units within a Springboard offering. So, we could have multiple, and we will have multiple Springboard offerings. So let's take, for example, if you're at the Prime level, you're going to have the ability to go ahead and access 15 units a month at that level. If you're at you could do it in multiple different ones. So you could do maybe five units in one Springboard offering, 5 in another, and 5 in another during a month. Or you could go ahead and use your 15 units all at once in a single Springboard. The same is applied for the 30 units at the Surge and the 60 units at the Excel. Awesome. And we also have another surprise we're going to be announcing on top of that, but I'll let that come from us tomorrow.
Awesome. So the takeaway from there is basically it's not called Springboard seats, it's units.
Yeah, it's a Springboard offering, and then you purchase units within that offering.
Gotcha.
The math is the same. Next question.
Sorry?
The math is the same, though.
Math is the same. Gotcha. Yeah. This next one here says, does volume reset from month to month?
Well, volume actually resets from week to week because we pay weekly on the binary and unilevel, but we also pay monthly on the beginner bonus, the global bonus, etc. Your rank qualifications are based on monthly, but your volume will go ahead and obviously be deducted week to week so that those cycles can be paid out. But the key factor is most binaries, front-end binaries, will go ahead and utilize your weekly business volume to establish your rank, which gives even makes it more difficult for you to rank advance. So instead, we of course take the whole month on a cumulative volume to allow you to go ahead and use that for rank advancement.
Awesome. Here's another one here. How likely is it to have a 30-day turnaround for my investment?
Well, that's a good question. What we have is Amazon actually pays out every 2 weeks. And then from that, we go ahead and we have, to handle all the transactional fees and everything else. So the Springboards will be paid out monthly. If you look at the nature of the Springboards, obviously the Surge and especially Excel will have a higher branded product offering. So those Springboards are going to turn around even more rapidly because obviously it's just a higher dollar value that we're sourcing in there. The Prime level at the $50 a month is still going to be a great offering in the marketplace, but you're going to see a little bit of a different speed there. I can't go ahead and say how quickly your return is going to be, but understand if you introduce 2 other people to this, you're tying in to not only the fast start bonuses, but your beginner bonus you're tying immediately into. So the idea is your beginner bonus is helping you out there, and then the Surge is coming in with some different calculations on that. They're going to help you ramp up. But if we just purely looked at it, the beginner bonus and then also the Springboard, the Springboards are going to move pretty quickly and they're going to be paid out monthly. So even if it took you 60 days or worst case scenario, 90 days to be paid out of a Springboard, realize all of the other things you're getting during that time. Now, that's not to say that's the case, but I always deal on the conservative side. Now, myself and a lot of the people I've been dealing with, I'm looking at it going, okay, I want to be in multiple Springboards. And then what's going to happen is as these Springboards take us out 180 days. If you're truly looking at this from a business perspective and not just a fast buck, what you're going to say is, okay, I want multiple checks out of multiple springboards being paid to me every single month. If I use that type of thought process and approach this from an analytical and fiduciary long-term review, then I'm going to have reward dollars coming to me. I'm going to be building my e-commerce business, and I'm going to have Springboard. I would tell you that, in my opinion, it would be a very strong mistake if you were only going to be in here to make money off of Springboards, because then you're missing 90% of the rainbow of the offering with INFINii.
Absolutely. I totally agree with what you said. And from a business point of view, the way I think, I mean, my gosh, if you have a little bit of money to throw around, you go to a bank and try to get a CD to mature. It's like they don't pay you anything. They keep your money forever. So I like what you said about that, because if you're looking 60 to 90 days out and you really understand business and you really understand how business and money and things like that move, this is really a pretty awesome opportunity. And the margins are pretty great too.
Think of it this way. If you sat down with your CPA, your accountant, or whatever, and you said, look, I want to get a $4,000 residual income coming in. And, what am I going to have to save in order to do that? So you're going to look at the bank, and the bank's going to pay you about 1.5% if you're lucky. But let's just get super generous and say a new bank opens up on the corner. It's owned by your uncle, and he's going to give you 5%. You're really going to need about $1 million in that account at a 5% yield in order to earn $4,000 a month. So get real on the perspective and the monies, and realize that every time you can increase the income coming into your house by an additional $4,000, it's as if, especially if you build a team in here through the rewards plan, not only on the e-commerce money and everything else, but it's as if for every $4,000, you've created another $1 million asset for yourself. And we're not in any way, shape, or form aligning that to say that this is an asset or this is anything, but I look at dollars that coming in. I look at the scenarios of how those dollars can be created. And if through this creation, I would need to put another $1 million in my uncle's bank at 5% to be paid the same thing I can create over here, then I, in fact, in my mind, have created another $1 million asset every time I do another 4,000.
Absolutely. And it's not hard, guys. I mean, especially if you're building teams plus the springboards and different things that we have. If you're truly dedicated with the leaders that we have inside of the of our team, that with EPN, like if you're dedicated and you want to learn stuff, there's no reason why you shouldn't be making $4,000, $5,000 a month. But it's really up to you on how fast you want to go and how fast you want to learn. But that's some of the stuff that we're going to offer you. There's some more questions here.
Trent, I've seen, just one point on that. I've seen people, and again, I didn't come from the e-commerce side,
right?
And so coming into this was a learning curve for me. But I've seen people come in here and get started with that Amazon FBA, fulfillment by Amazon. And, when I was looking at that, that's when I really kind of got an idea. I said, okay, the times I've been buying stuff through Amazon, and I thought I was purchasing through Amazon, there could have been a DSD provider behind that. Yep. And so here I'm thinking Amazon, I'm buying it from them. Amazon's just fulfilling it. So when you start to understand the full dynamic here and how powerful this is, the ability that I've seen people come in here, and if they approach this like a business, I mean, consider to do a Subway franchise, you're spending $150,000 just to get the franchise, not before all the build outs and everything else. Go look at any of the other models that you have to look at to get a cookie cutter system. Here we've got a cookie cutter e-commerce system with individuals like yourself, Trent, and the remainder of people on your leadership team that know exactly what they're doing, that the other members that are coming in, joining your team, are getting firsthand assistance at building massive e-commerce business, and you're doing it for free. They're not paying you any money at all out of their pocket, meaning it's not costing them any money. You're doing it because through the rewards plan and through other factors, you're being rewarded, but it doesn't cost the new members anything to get this type of leadership and training. If we didn't have the INFINii model, Trent, how much would you charge somebody online to have you teach them how to do an e-commerce business from zero to getting up to 10,000 a month?
It'd be in the thousands, easily in the thousands. I mean,
I'd be charging a 3x multiplier. You're gonna pay me $30,000 in the next 90 days for me to teach you how to do this and ramp up. And that's really the legitimate. People sometimes don't realize how powerful this model is. So we look at it and say, wow, I have to invest $150 a month or $400 a month into this platform. And, then I have to do this, and that. This is simple, folks. When I ended up going and starting law school and signed on the dotted line, there was no job at the end, but there was a $108,000 student loan,
Yep.
No guarantees. So it doesn't matter what you have to do. There's a cost of educating yourself in the process.
Absolutely, man. Awesome stuff. We got a few more questions and we'll try to wrap it up because I know we've been around an hour. We want to respect you guys' time since it's late. So let's try to blow through these as fast as we can. Here's one here that says, does the dual team, I can't read this, does the dual team weekly pay include people placed by upline or only PET or personal enrollment tree?
Great question. It includes everybody. If you're fortunate enough to have your sponsor that's building effectively, that's the great thing of the dual team or binary, is that your sponsor has two legs or two teams to build. And so if he enrolls somebody left, then the next one goes right and the next one goes left. So ultimately you have what we refer to as spillover. If you have people placed underneath you by your upline, and in turn, and here's the thing of importance. In turn, if you're building, you should be doing that for your team as well. Then they benefit from that because no matter whose team they're on, if they're below you, it's creating the business volume. It's the unilevel that it has to be part of your enrollment tree, but the binary, it'll pay you on other people put in. Now, I would like to add this one caveat. A lot of people with binaries kind of look to their upline and say, hey, come on, put people underneath me. And I've always been one that said that studs or studettes create spillover. They don't ask for it. So if you're serious about building a business, then keep your focus on being a powerful builder for your teams and helping your downline out, but only, and I repeat, only place people on your left leg or your right leg. Don't be placing them on the inside of other people's legs. They only go on your left directly or right directly. And I'll be doing the compensation plan training, which will go over the best ways to build your teams.
Awesome. Here's another one. No upfront cost for Springboards, correct? Is it pay as you earn like with eBay?
Well, there will be the upfront cost with Springboard. It has nothing to do with the membership. The membership level simply allows you access into the different Springboards. Then you're paying per unit the cost of that purchase. And at that point in time, that money does have to be collected up front because that money is obviously then buying the large number as we see. And some unit purchases will be 1,000, some will be 5,000, some unit purchases will be 10,000, on that. But the great thing is you're going to see, heck, we've even got our hands on, Star Wars stuff, Spider-Man stuff, and that's the stuff that flies out there. And from the e-commerce experts like Trent here, he knows what moves. That's the great thing about INFINii is you've got, our founders are all experts in the e-commerce space. They're not just picking products for Springboard just to pick a product. They're picking products that are hot in the marketplace that can move in a very rapid manner.
Awesome. Here's another good one here. It says, where is it? How much will the co-op be, and do we only need 4 people to go to director? I think that's a good question.
Okay. Number one, not a co-op, but when we look at it, there is no cost for the Springboard itself. It's just, again, going back to that, it's just a cost on the units that you're purchasing to have inside each individual Springboard offering. Now, what was the second part of that?
I actually erased the line because I'm erasing as I go.
I believe it was that there were 4. How many people do you need?
Yeah, they said to go to director, do you only need 4? Basically, is what I think.
Technically, you can use up to 60% of the business volume in any line of enrollment tree lineage. So you could actually go all the way to presidential director with just 2 lines of lineage. Right there. So if you were fortunate enough to just have 2 rock stars, you put one on your left leg, one on your right leg, and they did the volume that was required, you could go all the way to presidential director. It's not until you hit ambassador that you would need a 3rd line of lineage when it drops to 40% usage from any line of one lineage. And then ultimately global ambassador, you would actually need 4 at that level because we drop it to 30% of the BV from any one line. You'll find that most companies would never be this generous. They ask you to have specific ranks in each line of lineage. They only give you usually to start off at 50% or 45. We start off at 60 and stay 60 for 3/4 of the comp plan.
Yeah, one thing to add to, which I don't think, maybe you said it and I was daydreaming because I am extremely tired, running on like 2 hours of sleep like everybody else. But one of the things that I thought was awesome is when you get to those payouts, and let's say that you're a director and you fall back like a couple of ranks, you're still getting paid out some of them bonuses. Can you hit on that just a bit?
Well, let's say you go up to presidential director, and but you fall back after that to regional director for 2 months, and then you get back to presidential director. When you win the bonuses, and you look over on that one page we had up before, and it says that you're getting $100,000 bonus, you're getting $250,000 bonus. Obviously, from a fiduciary side, we can't pay that bonus out all at once. It just doesn't make good fiduciary sense to do that. So what we do is we pay it out over a period of time. Like a director, you see, we pay it out a $10,000 bonus. We pay out over 2 months, and that's $5,000 on each month. So when you look at any of those bonuses, what most companies do, and that's the common way to award bonuses in the industry, but what most companies do is they say, hey, you qualify. And so they give you this big check on stage, and they say, you just won, a $500,000 bonus. And then you walk off stage. The company's allowed to use that for publicity, obviously, because you just qualified for this. But the next month you don't qualify. Well, guess what 95% of the companies do in the marketplace? They take that next month installment, and rather than paying you, they put it back in their pocket or in the bank. But with us, the founders very specifically said, that is your money. Well, you have to qualify at that rank to be paid it. If for some reason your business is, you're not focused on it, and your team wasn't really taking off, and it fell back for a month or two, then the next time you qualify at that rank, boom, you get the bonus. It stays in a basically safety deposit box theoretically for you, and whenever you requalify at that rank, boom, you get paid again. So it doesn't disappear like it does in other companies.
That's unbelievable. When I heard that the first time, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I mean, yeah. That's amazing, especially for people that are building and stuff.
I know a lot of companies out there that had people walk across the stage with $250,000, $500,000, $1 million checks. And if you actually found out for the person what they got paid out of it, it was like 10% of what they walked the stage of the check, even though they'd requalified because the company kept taking the money out every month they didn't qualify. That's not going to happen here.
Yep, exactly. I was in one of those companies that actually paid out like that in the past. Here's one. What sort of profits can one expect solely using the Springboards, using the management team to handle it?
Again, as you look at the different levels, you can do the math on there. But there's going to be some products on there that you're going to make $10, $11 per unit. There's going to be some products in the Springboards that are going to have a $50 per unit profit. And even higher. But, again, we always like to stay at the conservative model and anticipate somewhere between an $8 to $11 profit, per each item. And then even if you're looking at, let's say, a $10 profit per each item, if you were doing the Springboard and that was 60 units at $10 profit per unit, you can do the math on that and see it's still a very nice thing, and consider that that's monthly. You can be at that level every single month going on. Now, you're also going to have much higher profit things, but we're not a hype type company where we're going to say, hey, you're going to get in Springboard and you're going to be making profits up here and this much and this much. That's not the way to run an ethical business. The idea is we are taking real products in the marketplace, and you are getting a substantial return on your initial purchase of that unit based upon the price it's selling in the marketplace.
Awesome. Somebody said, how much is it for each unit?
That differs from each Springboard offering on the unit price, and that price is established with our manufacturers. So consider something that sells for $15 or $20 on Amazon. Because of what we've been able to accomplish over the last 2 years, and we're able to deal direct with the manufacturers, we're sourcing that product from anywhere from $1 to $3. So it really becomes an incredible formula for success when you have those type of relationships with the manufacturers. You as an end user would never be able to get that. So you've literally got a negotiating, what's the one guy that used to be Star Trek, William Shatner price line, airfare negotiator. He does the karate. Well, we got to get a picture of Hitesh doing that same thing, because that's what he's doing with these different merchant accounts.
That's awesome. Here's actually a really great question. It says, after units sell, do additional units open back up? So let's say I have access to 15 units per month. After I use my 15 units, am I done for the month, or do I have access to 15 again after they sell? That's a great question.
That's a phenomenal question, and that's actually being discussed right now. We've got a special announcement on a couple other things that you're going to be able to access more units. But you know, my indication on that is that if there are available units, the idea with the limitation on units is we want everybody to be able to participate in this, and we want it to be scalable with a membership that we fully expect is going to be in the hundreds of thousands within this. So we need to ensure scalability. Great news is there's 36 million different products on Amazon. So scalability isn't a question, but we want to make sure that we can, you know, manage, maintain, and handle everything here. So this is kind of the initial conservative mark that we have established. As we move forward, we'll treat it just like a living entity where we monitor it each and every month. And, you know, my opinion on that would be, I'd be voting to say, hey, if you've gone through your 15 and then there's available units that are available and you've actually been paid back on your 15, why wouldn't you be able to participate additionally? And I know Hitesh is a very forward thinker like that. So all of that's on the table, but we needed to lay out a solid line so that each of you would know where we stand currently.
Awesome. Here's a great question. I can actually take this. It says, are there going to be help with the marketing aspect to help us build teams like sites, pay-per-click, ads, co-op campaigns to help us get exposure and time? Will there have higher limits? Wait, I just skipped around while I was reading another one. Sorry.